Hashtag goals.
Goals, gains. Oh, wait.
That's all. That's it. That's today's episode. We're done.
Have a
All
good
right.
weekend. Oh,
Have a good
I'm
weekend.
just here to
or
sip on my
week.
coffee.
I think it's Monday, right?
it will be Monday.
Well, it
when
will be
comes.
Monday when
It
this
will
comes
be.
out. It's not Monday now.
Facts.
It's not Monday now.
It is Saturday now.
No, yeah. Anywho, goals. So last week we're kind of doing a little follow up action. Last week we went into some of our New Year's resolutionary goals, the resolution revolution, as I like to call it. So we're going to talk about the kind of second half of that. What are the best ways to achieve those goals? I know we kind of did a SMART goals episode last year, but that was a year ago. We've changed. Life has changed. Let's talk about it again. Let's talk about it different. And by different, I mean, let's look at it from a perspective of what have we done wrong in the past that has made us not achieve our goals? What can we do differently? What can we change? What can we get rid of? So with that, Jared Rumsey, this was your idea to talk about. Let's roll with it.
I like the sunglasses, Randy. Sunglasses are tight.
Blocking out the haters.
Exactly, with a Z. I've got Ray-Ban vision, except I think they're like Panama Jack. I don't know.
And they're from
Yeah,
Walmart.
something like that.
Okay.
Why you're not achieving your goals? Yeah, this is a great follow-up, I think, because we were talking about topics. And, yeah, last week we did New Year's resolutions. So I thought this was great, and it's something I've been thinking about. So, I mean, like, one of the things, I guess I'll just get into it. I don't know.
Yeah, full send, dude.
Full set.
Yeah,
Beat around the bush.
Probably one of the biggest things that has helped me with actually achieving my goals, because in the past I've set a bunch of goals and then haven't achieved them. I'm sure everyone has a similar story. If you haven't, then I guess you're perfect. You probably shouldn't be listening to us.
Big wow.
Hashtag built different.
Well, if you're built different, then you're probably doing your goal right now. But if you're like us, the rest of us swine, us
Pheasants.
pheasants, then you have trouble getting to your goals sometimes and achieving them. And one of the biggest things that I've done that has helped me is just simply writing them down. And you can just keep on going from there and continuing to write things down. So start off by, if you listen to our SMART goals episode, write down a SMART goal with all of those parameters and set, specific, measurable, all that jazz.
Let's hit on the what SMART is again real quick for those of y'all who haven't heard it. SMART is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. They need to be a goal needs to be. Yeah, I really pulled that out of my behind.
Yeah, honestly.
But yeah, a goal needs to be all those things in order to be manageable and achievable. Because, without getting into the whole thing, if you want to hear like each specific portion of that whole thing, go back episode 9. There won't be video, unfortunately. You won't get to see our beautiful faces. But episode 9, we talked about SMART goals and what each of those means. So this is kind of building off of that 1 year later. But yeah, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, and if you write all this down, then you'll have a more clear vision of what your goal actually is, and then you can go on from there. And, excuse me, one of the things that I've also written down that has helped me a lot is writing down how your life will be if you do achieve that goal and how your life will be if you don't. And
that's interesting.
Yeah, and like the fear of failure will sometimes be like the main driver for you in trying to achieve whatever you're trying to achieve.
I think that's a great point because I think it makes you realize whether, and this is something that I got into a little bit last episode, it makes you realize whether or not it's that important to you. Because if it's something that's not that important, you're not going to have that fear of failure, fear of not being able to move forward. And to me, that's a goal that's not that important, and you should be focusing your energy on something else. Or you can be focusing your energy on something else.
And this is something I've started to do very recently because I'm doing Jordan Peterson's future authoring program. And well, the section I'm in right now is reflecting on the past. So, just writing about my past and then seeing what comes up and then trying to just deal with it. Right. That way, what's in the past can actually be in the past, and it's not looming in my mind, and it's not something that I'm still struggling with, dealing with it today.
Right.
So that's part of it. But then, yeah, he also talks about if you want to go a certain avenue in your life, you want to take your career a certain path, or you have like some big goals, first writing down how your life would be without it, or if you don't decide to go that path. And then also writing down how your life will be if you do achieve that success in that goal or whatever you have to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, the fear of failure is a huge driver in that. And it's great. I think it's very effective.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. Joe, go ahead.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people also get hung up on their past, right? They allow their past failures to hold them back from their futures. And as John F. Kennedy once said, those who focus too much on the past or the present are certain to miss the future. Damn. Good.
Wow. You sound like you're doing like a high school graduation speech right now.
Thank you.
Right.
But yeah, in a serious note, if you let yourself be, because I think you mentioned right, Jared, getting stuck on the past, right?
Yeah.
That's a big one. A lot of people will, if they fail something, I feel like being in the gym is a good one, right? So if you go to the gym one year, your New Year's resolution, and then you're there for 2 or 3 weeks, you just get discouraged by not seeing any results quickly, and you just give up and you quit. Next year you go into it and you're like, well, last year nothing changed, nothing happened, so I'm not even going to attempt it anymore. So letting their past, failures will hold them back from, achieving their current goals.
Right. Think about exactly what lessons learned is. I mean, most of what we talk about are, failures that we've had. I mean, we talk about our successes too, but, in part and in the essence of the whole thing, it's our failures and the things that we have learned from those failures and kind of trying to instill those goals and those kind of the word's not coming to me.
I'm trying to help, but I can't.
To instill that mindset, I should say. I found it. Where, you're to have that mindset of, okay, a failure is just a learning experience. You have to be able to take that failure and say, okay, what did I do wrong last time? I think that's what people don't do is they don't analyze their failures. They don't take it and look at it and say, they just see it for a failure. They don't see it for what it is,
Right.
I like
you
that.
You fail at something for a reason. There's a reason you did. You either, we could use the gym. You weren't strong enough, or you didn't go enough days a week. You didn't diet right. Whatever the case may be, and that can be applied to any goal. You can look at school. I didn't study hard enough. I didn't pay enough attention in class. I didn't get enough sleep. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. That's where those lessons come into play. It's being able to break down and analyze the failures. That's so important, because I think people just see failures for failures, and there's nothing to be learned there. It's just, okay, well, I wasn't able to do it once, so I'm not going to be able to do it.
There is no failure. There are only lessons.
That's right.
Facts.
The
I
only
beat you to it.
The only
actually,
failure is one that you don't learn something from.
True. Thomas Edison once said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. I just figured out 1,000 ways that a light bulb won't work, or something along those lines.
No, that's exactly right.
Failure is the biggest teacher.
Yeah.
Fear is the biggest driver. This is good. I think we need like a third F in there or something.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, we'll figure it out.
We will, but
Somewhere along the lines.
I have an E word.
Ooh.
Excuses.
I was gonna say personal accountability is a big one, but I feel like they go hand
It
in
kind of
hand.
ties in, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing people tend to do is they make excuses for not doing something or not achieving something, and then that's why they don't learn from it. Because you're saying, well, I wasn't able to do it because of this, or I wasn't able to do it because of that. And then all these various excuses for why you didn't achieve your goal compile into one big excuse for I wasn't able to achieve it. So you don't look at it. You don't look at it. It's kind of another way around not analyzing it and looking and learning from your mistakes. It's an excuse not to analyze it because you have all these reasons that were, quote, out of your control that made you not achieve a goal. But then again, I mean, you can really dive down the rabbit hole because you can break down each one of those excuses. Well, why did that happen? I ran out of time. Why'd you run out of time? Did you procrastinate? Did you do other things that you should have been, that you weren't, you were doing other things you shouldn't have been doing?
Were you not focusing on it?
Exactly. Were you just simply taking too much time to do it when you could have done it in a shorter amount of time? Were you doing it in a not efficient way?
I think inefficiency is a huge point that we should kind of focus on for a second.
Yeah, and procrastination.
Yeah. So with like inefficiency, let's say you sit down at your computer, like a lot of us are teleworking right now because there's a big boom in COVID cases. So like the other day, for example, I was checking emails and I was writing a training report for one of my students. So I was sitting at my computer. I was like, okay, this is going to take about an hour and a half if I really focus on it. So what did I do? I turned my phone on silent. It was still there, like in case someone from work called me or something, I could see it light up. But my phone was on silent, and I put in headphones. Actually, I just got new earbuds. I finally got the fully wireless earbuds.
Not sponsored, by the way.
These are some Sony ones.
Not
Sony
sponsored.
WF C500. Not sponsored. They kind of fall out easily, so I wouldn't recommend them for working out.
Oof.
Anyways.
Definitely not sponsored.
I was, trying to focus on this work, and it would take an hour and a half if I focused on it. So I put in my headphones, I turned on Brain FM, and I went to their focus playlist, and I just focused on that and that alone. I didn't check my phone. I didn't go on Instagram or anything. If I needed, like at 45 minutes, I took like a 5-minute break. I went downstairs, got a cup of coffee, drank some water, used the bathroom, and started right back up again.
Nice.
And that's a good example. So a bad example is, you're doing work from home and you sit at your computer for 3 hours and you actually have work to do the entire time, but you're checking your phone. You go out for like a smoke break, every 30 minutes or just, to avoid doing the work.
I want to snack.
Or
I need a cig.
Or you take a 5-minute break, but then you start watching a YouTube video.
Yep.
Or like you use the bathroom and you start watching a YouTube video on the toilet. It's like,
Guilty.
if you're going to take a break, just take a
later.
break to get some water, use the restroom, and come right back to it. Don't get distracted by stuff. If you divide your attention between 3 or 4 or 5 different things, then it's going to take you 10 times longer to get the job done and do what you were planning to do. And that's just so much time wasted.
Yeah, and if you really think about it, you would have so much more time for all that other stuff if you just focus on your work and got it done. And that's something that like I do at work. There's a lot of times where I'm actually like bored at work because I sit down and like when I get there, I'm like, I just want to get all this done. I don't want to have to worry about it. I don't want to have to be here late because I procrastinated on it and now I have to finish this before I leave. And a lot of times I get everything done and I'm kind of sitting there just like, wow, I have nothing else to do. And then, in a lot of cases with that, especially if I'm at the one part of my job where I just have to like wait for trucks anyway. Then I'll sit and like pull up my phone and watch a YouTube video. But at that point, I have nothing else to do. I've done everything that needs to be done up to that point.
Right.
And then I'll pull out my phone and watch YouTube or whatever. But like, in a way, like you look at it as a day to day, hour to hour goals, right? I mean, you should think about it like this: like you have obviously your big goals, like I want to become this, I want to do that, but you have day to day goals as well. Every day, every hour, you have a goal every hour. I need to get this done by noon. And then boom, there's a day-to-day goal right there, hour-to-hour goal. I have 3 hours to do this. Get it done.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's
So
where the personal accountability comes in. Real quick, Jared. Is kind of going back onto your excuses, is that people will, they make their excuses. Oh, I didn't have the time. I didn't have. Like, take accountability for your actions.
Right.
So if you ran out of time, say, I'm the one who messed up. I'm the one who procrastinated. I'm the one who got on my phone and shouldn't have, and I need to correct that myself. Like, do not pin failures on other things. Now, there are existential circumstances that will come up, right? Things that you don't foresee. If you're trying to, I don't know, go to a job where it requires a drive and your car breaks down, something like that. Those are things that are out of your control.
Right.
But if you're late to work because you just couldn't get up early, that's your fault. Like, take personal accountabilities and then you correct yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I get to work, just to build on that point. I get to work almost a half hour early every day, and it's just because I know that the way my commute is, like I'm on Route 80 for part of my commute, and there's days where there might be an accident. I might sit in traffic for 40 minutes. So like, I leave like a half hour earlier than I really need to, and most of the time I'm at work a half hour early, and it is what it is. But I don't want to have the conversation, especially when there's something important that needs to get done, of, oh, why are you 15 minutes late? It's like, well, there was an accident on 80. It's like, okay, but there's always accidents on 80. Like, it's at that point, it's not an excuse at that point. To me, the way I see it, it's not an excuse, because it's like, it's something that can happen. It's something that's foreseeable. Now, like, if you get into an accident, somebody rear ends you, okay, that's a little bit more of an excuse, because you can't really plan for that. But if you get on if you leave, all right, I have to be at work at 7. It takes me 35 minutes to get there. I left at 6:25, and then there's an accident on Route 80. That's my fault, because I didn't leave myself the extra time to get there. I gave myself exactly enough time to get to work.
Yep,
dude. Real quick, whenever I drive to work, there are a bunch of people.
Driving's
like, I have to drive through kind of a sketchy part of Omaha, and everyone is going like 15 over in a 40-mile-an-hour zone, and
55.
Like, I leave early. This is one thing I've been working on, is getting to places on time. I leave early so I don't have to speed, and I see all these people like whipping by me, and I'll be on the right lane, and there will still be people like speeding up behind me and getting mad that I'm not going 10 or 15 over. And I'm just thinking, man, these people need to like organize their lives, because it's not just one or two guys doing it. It's everybody.
I'm one of those people in that category.
Yeah, me too. I also drive on Route 80, so it's like eat or be eaten.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, yeah, I'll drive fast. I'll drive like, between 5 and 10 over. I usually don't push 10 over. But I'm just thinking, man, these people, like, either they just don't care and that's how they are, or a majority of them
Constantly
are
late.
not leaving on time.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I would say it's the latter. I think it's people who are in a rush. I think that's why if you look at my commute, there's so many accidents on 80, because people are just in such a rush, and they get in this, tunnel vision mindset. Like, I got to get there. I got to get there now. And, they're getting accidents. And
without getting too off topic, I want to close out the focus portion of what we were talking about with an example.
Ooh.
So my example is, you guys know that I like to read. I have a bunch of books in my house.
I don't believe it.
I don't see any books
in
I call
here right
bullshit.
now. Actually, my laptop is perched up on a couple books right now.
It's not very good use of the books.
Damn it, Randy.
You know,
So
you could eliminate those books.
Oh, you got a plug?
Maybe. But I'll let you do your thing first. Do your thing. Full send. Oh, he's going to take a sip of coffee.
Yeah, so I want to read more. But right now, there are so many books that I want to read. So I'm reading like 5 books at one time. And it's not very effective.
No, it doesn't
because
seem very efficient.
Because like we said, it's better to focus on one thing than to divide your time up between 3 different things and work at, 30% capacity. So what I've decided to do is put all of my books away, like, stack them all up, put them away.
Under a laptop.
And only have one book out. Yeah, stack them up under my laptop.
Very inconvenient.
And that has helped. I literally just started that a couple of days ago. But it's helped so much. It helps to focus on one book and one book only. And then I can just go through them one at a time instead of dividing my time up between 5 different books. Because then I pick up a book and I'm like, okay, where did I leave off? And then I have to like go back a few pages and then reread it. So that's one example of focusing and how I've implemented it.
Well, I can't necessarily speak to the reading part because we all know I can't read. Ooh, haven't said that one in a while. But I can attest to that point with working out in the wood shop. I get the same, often get the same thing where I'm working on, bouncing between project to project. I mean, like sometimes that's okay. It's like, all right, I'm waiting for this project to dry and glue up, or waiting for the stain to dry or something. So I'm gonna go work on this. But there are other times too where like I'm bouncing from one project to the other, and then I got to stop myself and say, wait a minute, you're not getting anything done. Like it's like you're doing a lot and getting nothing done.
Yep.
At that point. So, that's another big factor, and focus is a huge part of it. No matter what it is, and you can look at focus from a lot of different perspectives. You can look at focus from like what Jared said, and that's kind of focusing on one topic. You can even look at focus on like talk about the gym, like in Joe's case, and you got people who don't focus on it and don't commit to it, and they go once a month and then can't understand why they're not achieving their goals. Wrapped it back in.
Yeah,
Right.
I think
But
if you take anything from this episode, just do this one thing, and that's focus on one thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You can go on YouTube. You can find a million videos that tell you, hey, do this to improve your life. Or, we have videos like that. You have a bunch of motivational speakers, Tony Robbins, Jordan Peterson, Gary Vee, and they all like talk about all these different things. And I think right now you can get overwhelmed by the amount of information. And by the time you're 3 episodes in, you forget what they said in the first episode. So if you do one thing, focus on your goal, focus on your thing.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Take a genius, for example. Take a guy with a genius level IQ who's focused on 3 different things, and take you, me, a dummy, focusing on one thing. Who do you think is going to do better? Well, you don't have to answer that, but I will do better because I'm focusing 100% of my attention on this one thing, and it's not divided between several different things.
Exactly.
Right.
And I want to refocus. So again, getting back
Heyo.
into awesome, exactly, focusing back onto why you don't achieve your goals. And I want to like get into real quick commitment, and also a very like Air Force thing. So obviously with the commitment plays big into the focusing part, right? Put 100% of your time and effort into what you're doing. It's focus, commitment basically go hand in hand. But also what the Air Force says a lot is figure out your why on what you're doing, right? So why are you doing this? So when you actually join the Air Force, you hear it a lot. It is from everyone in your leadership will ask you, why are you here? What is your why? So as you're going through your day to day, they try to constantly remind you of, why you're here, why you're doing what you're doing. And when you constantly think about that and have it in your head, that will drive you forward. It's not the fear of failure, but also the focusing on the success. Just always thinking about why you're doing something. So, again, going back into fitness, why do you want to work out? Is it for other people? Is it for you? Is it for your health? To look good? Figure out why that is. Focus on that. Be determined, and then give your 100%.
Right, and I love when we do this and the whole thing kind of comes full circle. Yeah. And like, what was one of the first things we said in the beginning of this episode was, or if you're not committing to something, why? Like, is it that important to you? Like you said, you ask yourself, why are you doing this? Well, when you ask yourself, why are you doing this? You're also kind of asking yourself, how important is this to me? Why have I not committed to this in the past? Like, I've tried this goal before and I haven't committed to it. Why? And clearly, for whatever the reason, whether it's because of a perspective of motivation or whatever, whether it's, you're being extrinsically motivated and not intrinsically motivated, or whatever the case may be, why is it that you are not committing to it? What is the problem?
Write it down.
Right.
Write down what you're going to be doing. Write down the time frame. Time frame's huge. Is it long-term? Is it short-term goal? Like, when are you going to achieve it? When are you going to be in it, like doing that thing? How is it going to affect your life? How is it going to make you feel? How long of a road is it? Are you going to have to take a bunch of school to get it? Are you going to have to study a little bit and then just take an online test and then get your certification? Is it going to be a constant thing? Like, is it just reading books? Is it a habit you're going to form? Like, write all this down. How is it going to feel if you don't achieve it? Yep. Just write it down. There's so much power in
visualize.
That. And we have
that
done
helps you visualize yourself in the future.
We have done it. The circle has come all the way around.
Yeah. I think it's a square.
Here's my journal for writing things down.
That is a journal. However, it is not a book. I guess it's a book.
It's a book. I put words in it. It's a book now.
Focus on one book, and if you don't want to read that book, if you don't want to commit to that kind of level of booking, I'm going to call it booking instead of reading.
Please, God, just
because I like it better.
You're a champion, Randy.
Then you can listen to books instead of reading them, free for 30 days with Audible. If you click the link below where I am pointing, where the boys are pointing. Joe, point, damn it. There we go. Where the boys are pointing, down below. Free for 30 days. Click it, try it out. And if you are listening to 5 books at a time, maybe it'll be a little more manageable. Maybe it'll be a little more efficient. Maybe it'll be a better way to achieve that goal. Being smart goals. Circle came all the way around. I think we touched on a lot of really good points today. We did talk about a lot of stuff. But I think there were a lot of good takeaways in today's episode. Mainly, keep your focus. Don't make excuses. Commit to whatever you're doing. And if you're not committing, figure out why. I think these are all the big main reasons why people are not achieving their goals. And let's achieve those 2022 goals. Let's get them done. You made those resolutions last week. This week, let's get them done. Jared, take us home.
All right, guys. This has been Lessons Learned. If you're on YouTube, thank you for listening. Like, comment if you have anything to talk about. Subscribe if you haven't. If you aren't watching us on YouTube, head over to YouTube. It's a lot more interesting. And even if you're driving in your car, you can still put it away.
See our face.
Yeah,
and the pork.
And the pork. I didn't even notice him. He's up on the door today. He's posted up. Well, thank you so much for listening. If you have any suggestions on topics, message us on Instagram. You can find us there at Lessons Learned Media, or comment on this video. But until next time, we will see you later.
See you.
I can't
reach Jared
all the way.